Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island Experience so unique.
I wanted it to be exciting. I wanted it to obviously bring together the island. Living on Jamaica and living here is an experience I'd never had in Michigan. We have lots of lakes up there, but the island life is a total different experience. And I wanted to bring all of that into my business and everything that I've learned in those places here and in Jamaica.
When Jennifer Bennett first dreamed up the name Island Flair, her artist boutique, she didn't just name a business. She captured the whole vibe. In this episode, we dive into the story behind the brand, the heart behind her creativity, and the island spirit that inspires it all. And now, here is Jennifer. Jennifer Bennett is here with us today. We're so excited. Island Flair is just a beautiful store in Matlacha. Love it. Can't wait to get in there and take pictures and movies of that. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We usually start with your background, where you grew up, where you've been living, what you've been doing. Can you fill us in?
I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I lived in Michigan until I was 30 when I was a truck driver, and I moved to Tennessee from there.
You must have stories.
I do. I did all the jobs. I remember when I was younger, like 5 years old, they always ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my mom had a book and I did all the jobs. I was a taxi cab driver. I was a model. I was a truck driver. So I fulfilled every single one of those things that I put down when I was 5 years old. I've done a lot of things in my life.
So it's your bucket list of jobs.
I guess it was. But I've always come back to caregiving and retail, which I think is kind of caregiving in a way that you're taking care of people. You're making them feel good. You're creating a space for them to have fun or just, enjoy themselves. So, but yeah, when then I moved to Tennessee. I was a taxi cab driver there for 10 years until I moved to Jamaica.
Wow. That was quite a move.
It was a big move. I gave away everything I owned, sold or gave away everything, and moved to Jamaica with 3 suitcases. It was definitely an eat, pray, love story. It was just, I'm going to do it. So I did.
And that's a fun place.
Yeah, I had a good time there too. I actually had went on a vacation in December. And when I got there, I was 38 years old at the time, and I knew I couldn't have babies at the time. So when I went there, I realized I could get healthy. So I went back to Nashville, gave and sold everything I owned, moved to Jamaica, and worked on getting healthy, and was pregnant with my son, who is now 11, within 5.5 months of living there.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it was all like, it was planned. It was destined. So, and he's amazing.
Oh, wow. Well, you're amazing for doing that.
Thank you. It was fun. I've always just been the kind of person that says, you know what, let's do it.
And when did you get involved with art studios? And
I don't know if it's been really art studios, but I've always been a creative person. From whenever I could remember, I've always created something. Like when I was in my teenage years, I'd always create things to hang on my walls. I've always been gone to the art festivals. I've always been to music festivals, around the country. It's just always been in my blood. I love to create things from old stuff that I find, paint it up, or be around artistic people. All of my friends, especially my close friends, are all very artistic, painters, sculptors. I just have always been in that community. So I can't really pinpoint when. I just know that it's always been in my life.
So how'd you find Pine Island, discover Pine Island?
My grandmother moved here when I was 9 years old. She moved to North Fort Myers. And back then you'd come to Matlacha to shop and do all the things that Matlacha has always been famous for. I remember when I was that little girl thinking, you know what, when I get older, I'm going to own a hotel over here in Matlacha. But when I permanently moved to Florida about 9 years ago, I was working in Cape Coral, living in Cape Coral, and there was a camper for sale out here. And I bought it, fixed it up very artistically, made it cute and fun, and started my own property management business with Airbnb. So that's really what brought me to Pine Island, was my little business that I started.
And then from that business, then what got you to open or decide to open Island Flair?
So once I bought that camper, I ended up buying 2 more, getting my income to a point where I could leave working for someone else in Cape Coral and buy my home in Bokeelia. Then from there, not long after, Ian came and kind of made my Airbnb property business be in a place that was just barely affording me anything. It was just paying the bills. And so I've always wanted to own a store. I've always wanted to have some kind of place that I could bring people in to welcome them. And this past winter, I just said, you know what, let me see if I can do this. And I started putting it together. I first figured out the name of Island Flair, and then I signed up for my DBA under my property management LLC. And it just, piece by piece, it came together. And even the part where I didn't have any money sitting around to get a business together. But even that money just suddenly appeared for me in a way that I was able to sell something and get my business, pay for everything myself. The Franks that own the building, were really wonderful. And I don't know, it just all flowed together, piece by piece by piece, came together until I was doing it. I was there with it.
Now, did you target Matlacha kind of having had experience with it, or was that just that the property and the owners presented themselves kind of right time situation for you?
No, actually, I was targeting Pine Island. I tried to get 3 different places on Pine Island to start this business, but it was always some little piece was in the way. People were just so wonderful, but they were still waiting on their occupancy licenses to come in. And something else just didn't work out with a contract. And another person wasn't calling me back. So Matlacha was kind of scary to me because the buildings I was looking at here on Pine Island were less money. Mm-hmm. And as a single mom, that always looks more attractive. Like, okay, less out of pocket, that's great. But I saw the building for rent. I called Mr. Frank and he told me what it was. And I was like, ooh, my stomach's eating up inside, like, oh, can I do it? And I called a friend of mine who always gives me business advice, Jay Sanderson. And I said, this is available. He says, that's a really good price. He says, and it's Matlacha. I was like, you're right. It's Matlacha. So I went ahead and, like I said, all those businesses that I tried, or all the buildings I tried to get on Pine Island, there was always some kind of something in the way happening. But this one didn't. This one, everything fell right into place with no hitch, no obstacles. It just came together. And it's meant to be. So beautiful. Yes, it was definitely meant to be.
And then once you did sign the contract, then you have to do reservations and, transform it, if you will, into what your vision?
No, the greatest thing is that they had put in an epoxy floor and painted everything white. And for an artist, putting art up, white is the best thing. Unless you want to change it, that's fine. But when you're putting up bright, beautiful art, a white background is great. So, and they also made the building, because that was the other fear, was the flooding. Mm-hmm. But they've designed the building since Ian, since Milton, since Helene, to wash and keep on going. So everything about 3 to 4 feet up is you don't have to tear it out. We can just wash it off. That's the epoxy flooring that's in there. I'm not sure what the boards are made of for the walls, but yeah, it's just a wash and go situation there. So they did all of that. And I just came in and started putting the artists in there.
Cool. And so when did you have your official opening then?
We called it the soft opening on February 27th. Spent the next 3 weeks working out kinks, like with credit card machine. I first had to start doing it on my Square on my phone, that sort of thing. Just working out all the little things, making sure they're all right until we came to the grand opening. And I called it the celebration. It was on March 20th, and it was a lot of fun. Everybody came in and had a party, and we had a good time.
How did you find all the artists? You already knew so many of them. And when were people immediate? I want to be in there?
Yes. So I have a list of over 85 vendors, artists. It's an email list of this many people. I had done Peace Day Pine Island last year, which was a festival on Peace Day, which is the end of September. And so I had started adding to that list then. And then I also have put together a couple of vendor markets like Toast and Shop Pine Island, and also Island Beats at Street Eats and Ale. So I just sent out an email to my email list and let them know what I was doing. And before we even opened, I had 17 artists in there. And not all of them were from that list either. I put a shout out on Facebook as well, just letting people know, and in word of mouth also. So yeah, it was a very easy opening.
Wow.
And we all just came together and put it together. And
how did you come up with the name Island Flair? It's a beautiful name. What inspired you?
I tend to I go into a thesaurus with some words that I'd like for it to be or mean, and I put them together through that. I wanted it to be exciting. I wanted it to obviously bring together the island. Living on Jamaica and living here is an experience I'd never had in Michigan. We have lots of lakes up there, but the island life is a total different experience. And I wanted to bring all of that into my business and everything that I've learned in those places here and in Jamaica.
What's similar, different, would you say, between, say, Jamaica, a true island, as well as Pine Island? I mean, they're both island cultures, not heavily populated. Do you see some consistencies or similarities?
Community. Definitely community. Small town. That small town vibe of everybody knows everybody. People working together. Jamaica is very much about family and everyone pitching in to make it happen. And I know here in America, we tend to separate, or when there's no hard times happening, we all kind of just live and do our own thing. But we all see it when the hurricanes happened, that we all come together. We're all a community and we all know each other and we all work together. Those are the similarities that I most see.
What kind of drove your decision to run Island Flair with the particular business model you do, where it applies that the artists are allowed to simply create and then you handle all the business side, the sales, the marketing, et cetera, yourself?
So the biggest part that drove that is community. It's living together. I believe in everyday life, even at my home, that if we live together, if we work together, we can really make something happen. So that part driving, and my research in finding or looking at Franklin shops, looking at consignment shops, and looking at markets and the way they operate and the business models for that, it is what brought it together for me. And that's why I wanted to do it, was community.
Do the artists have any responsibilities besides, keeping it stocked with their artwork? Are they supposed to be in the store at times or help sell, or is it just you do everything and then they just have to worry about placing their art in the store?
There's no obligation, but there's an open invite to do that. So we often have some artists coming in, spending an afternoon there. A lot of times while they're there, if they're stocking their shelves, they interact with the customers. Every month, starting in April, we'll do a featured artist of the month. So there's no obligation for them to, if they're that artist for the month, to come in and do anything. But we hope to have them do meet and greets or maybe come in and perform their art in the store so that people coming in and out can see how they do something or get a chance to really see the process and then also meet the artist, which a lot of times people love to do that. I had a lady in there that bought a painting from one of our artists, and the artist just happened to be in there and was just behind her in line. And I said, "Oh, your artist is right behind you." And they both loved the experience, the artist and the customer. And there was pictures taken and an interaction that was really beautiful and fun. So it was a good time.
That sounds like a wonderful time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Now, one of the things that was kind of intriguing, I think you defined that there are spaces in your store, if I understood the term right, and then the artist can personalize their space. So maybe kind of take us through your thought process there and what all that actually means in terms of, for the artist and for the customer, I guess, as well.
So I have 4 different spaces available in my stores, what I call them spaces. I have the window space, which I call Maestro, that upscale, but they get the front window. There's a lot of exposure, especially with the traffic right now.
Yes.
Everybody gets to see the front windows. So there's a lot of exposure there. So that's the high end, but the least amount of spaces available because there's only 4 total windows and I only can allow 3 of them to be used because of code enforcement and stuff. Then the next space I call the artiste. And that's the same size as the window, but it's throughout the store. And that's what you'll see most of in the store. Those are the same size, same everything. They get so much feet wide from the wall and then the floor to ceiling. And each space, they can design both of these however they want. If they want to paint the wall, they can paint the wall. If they want whatever shelving they want, it's their space to design exactly how they would like to have it. And then our 2 other available places to be involved are the art show, which is the point of sale space. That is only available a month at a time. And it's because I want that to stay open and flowing constantly. And maybe someone comes in and is not sure. I don't know if this is for me. So just gives them a little bit of time to a month to see if they like it. Maybe then they want to transition to the artiste or something different. And then we have the apprentice. And that is just a shelf space on the gondola that's in there. People like Matt Anderson with his honey, perfect place for him. Or Melanie Ferber with her jams. And then the hookers, actually, Matlacha hookers, they have a apprentice space too, where they're selling a wood art that has the maps and Pine Island and with the nautical directions and stuff on it. So those are the 4 ways to be involved in the store.
The other thing that you're offering, I saw too, were you're offering classes, which is amazing. Now, where do you get your teachers from, or do your artists like to teach?
So some of our artists like to teach, but they are obligated to other places. The space in the back of the store is big enough for 12 to 15 people and we have a coffee station. I've been reaching out to artists. I'm hoping to get more. So far, we just had a class this past weekend with Rafliana, who did a trinket dish with decoupage. They were so cute. And the women had a ton of fun. 2 of them brought in their own mimosas. It was a great time. Sisters, they were fun. The energy that they brought to the store, though, was so great. Our next class is going to be, we're calling it Talls and Smalls. And it's, Rafaela's going to make 2 spring cards with children, maybe even their moms or children and their grandparents or something. So spring coming up with Easter or Mother's Day or something. So they'll be making 2 cards to take home with them. And then after that, the next thing we have planned is Heather Q Designs does henna tattoos. So she's going to be coming in and doing on-site henna tattoos for people. So we have some good fun things coming up.
And a variety.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for.
And you hope for 1 or 2 a month, something like that?
I actually would love to fill the space every single day.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it's, people love that kind of, maybe a sip and paint or whatever artists want to teach. I know there's so many different classes out there. So I really do hope to have it quite often. Getting going and being brand new, I've been working on the store more than that part. So I just recently hired someone to help and give me time to put more of that together. So that'll be a big push soon.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're hiring already.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's tough.
And it was actually kind of easy. I've known the lady for a while.
There you go.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Oh, nice.
And she works with me on other capacities too. So it was just an easy flow to have her come in.
So it's probably somewhat rotating as the artists create different pieces and stuff. But if somebody walks into Island Flair, how many artists are there today? What kinds of things are there available for them to buy, et cetera? Maybe take us through some of that, please.
When people come in, I immediately say we have over 20 artists. I think we're close to 25 now. So right away when you come in, you'll see clothing designs. Those are actually my little piece of the store. But you'll also, right away when you come in, you'll see Claudia Gunderson, who gears her art towards children. And you'll see Beba with Bohemian Blue. She does soy candles and is actually pretty popular here on the island. And her body mists have sold out 4 times in the month that we've been there. You'll also see Jackie, who does designer bags. She designs the bags from thrifted clothing that she finds, and they are absolutely beautiful. I actually meant to bring mine up so you could see it because I bought one from her. And now I have a whole set of this one bag. You'll also see, I mentioned earlier, honey, chimichurri sauce from Nick B's. And then in the back, Teresa Sheldon came in. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. She is this beautiful artist that just creates these beautiful oil paintings. They look like pictures. I mean, I can't help but stare at them and just try to pick out where the picture ends and the painting begins because they're just so amazing. You'll also find 3D art. We have children artists in there as well. So the 3D printing by Little Island Treasures is by a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old. They are very popular. It gives something for the children that come in to buy, but I'll be honest with you, a lot of adults buy their stuff too. And other creations, Lisa Jamson. She is a silversmith who creates her own rings and bracelets. But she also kiln fires enamel to copper to make these gorgeous earrings. Possibilities are really endless in there of the things that you will find. You could spend a lot of time and not see everything in what I think to be a rather small store.
And such a variety.
Yes, a little bit of everything. I did try to keep it that way as well. There was many jewelry artists that came in. But once I had 3, I stopped it so that we did have that big variety of people, of different artists in there.
And now I know this is awfully soon. You just opened, but do you have ideas for the future that you want to share, or you fine for now? Just leave it like it is, or?
I recently found out that I have the canal space out back. So my wheels have been turning wildly, wondering what I'm going to do, how, because I get to create that. That's right now just rocks and posts that probably took out some fencing or something. I don't know, but I am very excited to change that space back there and make it look, turn it into something. I don't know yet what it will be, but that's definitely part of in the future. And also out the back door, I've already started creating some comfortable seating. I'd like that to be very garden-esque, that people can enjoy themselves. Maybe the people that are attending the classes. I often have the husbands or boyfriends sit and wait while the women shop. So I actually installed a rocker out front, and I just put it out there for men or for anybody to sit in, but I noticed it was always the men. So now it's called the hubby holding area.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it gets a lot of pictures taken of it.
Well, I'm sure they're going to appreciate it too, being in the back and looking at the canal. And maybe they could fish or something too while they're
That's
back
something else I had considered of maybe my son likes to fish. So maybe we'll do something like that. It'll be a good time.
Well, I can certainly second the chair by the dressing room concept
Yes.
because that's a massive help.
So, some people have joked, well, you should put a cooler of beer there for them too. Free beer. So, well, we don't want to go there.
No, have to be careful with that one.
Yes.
So now, do you have any social media presence?
I do. That's kind of where I was going with everything prior to getting the store was I think it's really important to market everybody. I think it's really important to share everyone. So I have a group on Facebook. I probably get the words wrong in the order, but it's art, foodie, and I didn't remember all the words. Oh, art, foodie, and music. That's what it is. So I just like to promote people. I think that's really important around here, especially after what we saw after Ian, and to make sure everybody knows what's really going on out here. We're not, we had a lot of things happen to us, but we're still lively and we're still moving, and there's always live music happening. There's always artists out there creating. There's so many great places to eat. So, I share a lot of that. I interact with a lot of that. And then with the markets and the festival, of course, I have a lot of influence with that sort of thing. And I guess I'm old school. I'm only on Facebook. I really do try to be on Instagram, but I forget. I just forget to.
And you have a website as well?
Yes. sacredsoulsllc.com. And several of I guess that's my parent website, because Island Flair is in there, has a page. So does Peace Day and my other endeavors.
And then let's remind everybody of where you're located and your hours and a phone number, if we could, please.
We are located at 4630 Pine Island Road. And we are open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 p.m., Sundays from 11 to 3:30. We are closed on Mondays. And for now, you can reach me on my cell at 239-443-0244.
And then I saw your email too, is sacredsoulsllc@gmail.com.
Yes, correct.
So if they have any questions, but you would prefer they just come down and
oh yes, I like meeting them, and I think they should see what's really going on and just enjoy the energy of the store for sure.
And it's not hard to park there, is it?
No, and just recently, nobody knows this because the parking lot's always empty, but the owners of all the buildings along that stretch from where the barbecue place used to be and where the Florette Cakery is, they paved that whole back. It's just this wide open parking lot with lines for the spaces and everything. It's not like it used to be. So that's an easy walk. And then you can reach everyone. You can reach Matlacha Menagerie from there. You can stop in and see the new.
I know the pawn shop's right there.
Thank you. That's the word I
is
couldn't
that
think of.
yeah, they just opened too.
Yes.
Not that long ago.
Not long before me. And then Captain Con's is with Sweet Florets right next door. So she's there, I think, Monday through Friday. I'm not quite sure of her exact hours. I tend to spend too much money over there. That peanut butter pie.
Is anything you wanted just to cover or?
No, ma'am, I can't think of anything.
So we covered it all.
Yes.
Good. Well, it's been very enjoyable.
Thank you.
I'm glad we got to meet you and we're going to be down
Yay.
looking at it thoroughly. There's so much in there. So
take
we'll
your
be
time.
down this week.
Take your
Yeah.
time and just really see each and every artist. A lot of them are starting to put bios up so you can learn a little about.
Oh,
bit
that's a
about each
sweet
one.
idea.
And always ask me because I've learned a lot about each and every one of them.
So you have the scoop
Yes,
on them.
I do have the inside.
Very good. Okay. Well, thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.